The Catalunya Grand Prix not only gave us a new winner, but also clearly revealed the limits of Ducati's great strength and forced Marc himself to make one of the most surprising post-race admissions of the season. To fully understand, we need to unravel what happened on the track, what was revealed technically, and what it means for the remainder of the 2025 season. For Alex Marquez, the weekend in Catalunya began with frustration. He was leading Saturday's sprint when overconfidence brought him down, ending his race with a painful crash at turn 10. In his own words, that mistake sharpened his focus. On Sunday, Alex delivered what he called a perfect race without a single error. He beat Marc directly in a duel that lasted the full 24 laps. He explained, "It was very difficult because he is a rider that you know will always be on the limit, closing the front, the rear, but he will always try. So you can never relax when Marc is behind you." His performance wasn't just fast, it was also mentally strong. Although Marc tried to break him on the main straight early in the race, Alex remained calm and managed his tires with precision. Eventually, he crossed the finish line 1.7 seconds clear, celebrating with a roll in the turn 10 gravel and a double middle finger salute. "I hated that corner today, and I had to get revenge. So I rolled and gave it 2 middle fingers," he said with a laugh. The win only slightly trimmed Marc's championship lead, but it greatly boosted Alex's chances for the runner-up position, widening his gap over Francesco Bagnaia to 68 points. For the Gresini rider, it was a statement of legitimacy, his second win of the season, proving that Silverstone was no fluke. While the Marquez brother grabbed the main spotlight, there was another story that could have a major impact on the Constructors' Championship. Enea Bastianini scored his first podium as a KTM rider, finishing third after starting from 9th on the grid. His overtake on Pedro Acosta at turn 1 was key, an aggressive move that differentiated him from KTM's more cautious approach earlier in the year. In the end, Bastianini couldn't match the Ducatis, finishing 5.5 seconds behind. But the result excited the Tech 3 garage. Team boss Hervé Poncharal summed it up classically: "The cherry on the cake, and I think Günther is very lucky. He just arrives, immediately gets a podium. No, seriously, it's a great weekend with all the announcements and everything." Enea was on fire. He was really angry about what happened in Hungary and wanted payback. The announcement mentioned was the arrival of Günther Steiner, the former Haas F1 boss, who was confirmed as the new owner of Tech 3 on Friday. Steiner's first weekend in MotoGP yielded an immediate podium, something Poncharal couldn't overlook. Meanwhile, Acosta took a risk with a soft tire that faded at the end of the race, leaving him to finish 5th. Brad Binder retired early, while Maverick Viñales battled through illness to finish 13th. With Aprilia struggling, KTM is now just 2 points behind in the fight for second in the Constructors' Championship. That battle will add an extra layer of intrigue to the rest of the 2025 season. However, the main story from Barcelona was Marc Marquez's willingness to admit weakness. After years of projecting an invincible image, his comments after finishing second were some of the most honest of his career. He said, "It's true, maybe I could have forced everything, but this is not the time. It's time to keep riding, to keep the same concentration. I'm happy because I said on Thursday that there would be a day when I would have to accept that someone is faster than me, and the little brother was faster than me this weekend." Marc even admitted to deliberately backing off at one point. "On lap 3 or 4, I passed him on the straight, but I intentionally closed the throttle because the target was to open a gap to the third rider. I knew he had a better rhythm, he was faster, so I just used his slipstream to open the gap to the others." Ducati team boss Davide Tardazzi had warned that Barcelona could be the first race he loses, and Marc admitted he carried that thought throughout the race. "Maybe today was the day. Maybe. You will try. You have to try. But today on paper I already tried. You saw at turn 10 I went in and got a flashback of Alex yesterday." Yet his biggest admission came from a technical analysis of why Alex was able to beat him. "His strongest point was my weakness, and the reverse was also true. He was very strong in my weak points, the long right-hand corners, especially turns 3, 13, 14, and the last 2 corners. In turn 9, he rode very well, smooth, the bike wasn't moving much. I was behind him, same speed, but I was fighting against the bike. For a rider of Marc's stature to say openly that Alex's strength is his weakness is a major moment. He essentially admitted that on a circuit with many long right-hand corners like Catalunya, his brother had a real technical advantage. This was no coincidence. Marc himself compared it to last year's race against Pecco Bagnaia. Exactly the same as last year here with Pecco, following him the whole race, and in the last laps he had a little bit more. For the first time in 2025, Marc admitted he couldn't win even when giving maximum effort, a reminder that dominance also has its limits. Barcelona showcased what Marc called his weak point, fast right-hand corners. He explained to Das N, "Fast right-hand corners have always been my weak point, but I try to compensate on the left-hand corners. That's why on circuits with many rights, like here, it's more difficult. But with the Ducati, it's a bit easier." Since 2013, Marc has been known to be incredibly strong on circuits with many left-hand corners, like the Saxon Ring, where his cornering control is unmatched. But the flowing right-handers of Catalunya remain a thorn in his side. With Alex's smoother, more patient style through those turns, the outcome was inevitable. These technical differences could shape the course of the remaining calendar. Circuits like Misano and Motegi will test different attributes, but venues with many right-hand corners remain a danger zone for Marc. His rivals will surely have taken note. Barcelona also delayed Marc's championship point. If he had beaten Alex, Misano could have been the coronation. Instead, the first opportunity now moves to Motegi. That's significant because at Motegi, Marc could not only clinch the title but also break several records: oldest champion, most consecutive GP wins, and potentially also secure the Constructors' Championship for Ducati on the same weekend. Marc himself hinted he would prefer to win the title in Japan. Ultimately, my target is to try to maintain the same mentality. Don't overdo it. Try to control the limit. Try to control the bike. Try to control all the points. With a 182-point lead, the title remains inevitable, but this delay creates intrigue, not about if Marc wins, but where and when. A celebration at Misano in Italy versus a coronation at Motegi, Honda's spiritual home, clearly carries different symbolic weight. For Ducati, Barcelona was both a relief and a warning. A relief because the GP25 remained competitive even on a track that doesn't suit Marc. A warning because the customer GP24 of Gresini just beat the factory bike. For KTM, Bastianini's podium and Acosta's toughness confirm that their RC16 package is getting closer to the front. With Aprilia fading, KTM's rise to second in the Constructors' Championship looks increasingly possible. For Aprilia, it's a disaster. Jorge Martin is still recovering from injury. Marco Bezzecchi is inconsistent. Their momentum from the start of the season has completely evaporated. Meanwhile, Pecco faces a tough fight just to secure the runner-up spot. His inability to match Alex Marquez adds to Ducati's internal headaches. The Catalunya Grand Prix reminded the paddock that even in a season dominated by one rider, the performance margins remain incredibly fine. What do you think? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the latest videos. Thanks for watching.